what happens. Welcome to Crystalline Addiction. Our blue Zerg player in the upper left-hand side of the map is Lambo, and he is yet to drop a map here today. If he tops his group, he goes straight through to the round of 8, remember. Top right-hand side, the red Terran player from Team Liquid is uThermal. So Lambo asked if an Overlord can go through this pathway. And he thinks he can do it. I said if he can do it without taking some damage, that might be one of the plays of the tournament. Let's... this is easy. Easy, look. It fits straight through the middle. No! No! I can't, it's impossible. Oh, well, he tried. He tried to make it through. I actually really thought it would get through. Not so sure as this Lambo. It doesn't lose the Overlord, but it does take a few hits. And will be a little bit low on HP. uThermal. In the barracks. You should try with your medevacs. Now, I like the banter between the players here as they test out these maps. I love that they're in good faith and having some good fun with it, rather than just being like, I can't get my Overlord across the map, you know? It's fun to see, it's fun to watch them having a little bit of fun at the start of the games and discussing with each other. Well, as the hatch gas pool comes down, it does just look to be a pretty regular Reaper here from uThermal. Now let's just talk about these turrets a little bit. So these turrets are killable. So if you get a medevac here at a later stage, you can just, you know, if you get high ground vision on the turret, you can then just kill them off. And then this pathway becomes droppable. You can move through it. So that's obviously going to be pretty viable, I think. Yeah, especially for Terran players, you know, you just clean out these turrets, then boom, you drop across. Bases over here protected by turrets as well. If I'm going to be honest, out of all the maps that use the turrets, I kind of like this one quite a lot. I feel like this one uses the turrets very responsibly. And it doesn't feel as though they're all over the place. We did have a bit of a discussion about what the mini-map looks like as well. If you've got any suggestions for that, I'd be happy to see what you think. I kind of think that these are a couple of eyes, and these are some tusks. And then down over here we have his teeth of like some very scary elephant or something. I don't know exactly, but that's what I saw the mini-map as. Anyways, we do see this Reaper is going to go for a little bit of damage here. Drone taking a shot or two, and we do just see a command center from uThermal is about to finish up on the natural expansion. Third base from Lambo will be taking on the gold, so I like it. We haven't actually seen this yet. Now remember, this pathway up here is actually narrow pathway, so you can't bring siege tanks up here. It's only Marines and so that can fit through that area. So that's something that can't... something to keep in mind. And this Reaper is coming down towards the centralized position again. And obviously just knows the gold base is being taken, so he knows where Lambo is expanding to for the moment. And we do see the starport is on the way up here from uThermal, opting for a 1-1-1 setup initially, so very harassment focused. We've seen a little bit of mech out of uThermal so far today. We'll probably potentially see a little bit more from him here as well. We'll see what he wants to play with. See if he plays some bio styles as well. Feelings and Queens coming over again, moving towards a setup on this gold base, which is going to keep it nice and safe. The group spread obviously going to be an important part of that. Being able to transfer the Queens between these bases will be one of the big things about actually being able to just keep this alive and stopping drones from going down too quickly, etc. Now we do have a lot of Hellions on the way, joined by a Liberator. No medevac though, so no sort of Hellion drop phase of this, just Liberator and Hellions, and oftentimes uThermal will add a third command center into this as well. Just kind of as a, you know, behind the scenes. And sometimes then even an armory too to go for like a Hellbat Liberator attack. It looks like it's only 6 Hellions, so in that case we probably will not be seeing an armory. But we do see a tech lab on the factory, and if he starts to go into tanks, this looks very similar to one of the mech builds we already saw from him earlier today. So that is an opportunity that he has to kind of move forwards with here. This lair coming up in the main base currently. Gold base again taken as we see a single Zergling starting to come through the top side. Lambo. Let's see what he can do with that. This Overlord moving forwards as well. And Marine will start to nibble his way through this. So the Overlord just looking to scout though, trying to figure out what is going on. uThermal with his extra gases now means that he is able to go into that mech follow-up. A lot of gas income. He's set up nicely forward, and again, it is what he was kind of setting up for earlier. The Liberator, unsurprisingly, comes around the bottom side of the map rather than straight through the top. And we'll be able to siege up the Natural. And as he gets this over here, he's able to siege on that. As he's done, though. A couple of kills so far, and we are going to be having the extra Hellions coming over. This gold base is actually going to be... one drone goes down. Man, those Zerglings actually taking a bit of fire as well. Again, pulling back up here, it's a very kind of Hellion-friendly place with all of these little bbits and pieces. Missile turret is actually under attack. uThermal has to be careful of that. These Hellions are derping around, and it looks as though uThermal didn't quite realize that. Those turrets actually... Are they not even high ground? Oh my god, they look like high ground. Is that just me that looks like the high ground? They're actually the same level. Oh my god. Isn't that insane? Oh my god, that's crazy. I really thought these were up on the high ground. They're actually just at the exact same level. No, these ones are high ground though. So there is 2 of them high ground. I just assumed they all were. No, are they? No, this one is. Yeah, this one is high ground, but the others aren't. Wow. What a... Wait, what? Oh, the top has more. Okay, the top has more. Yeah, okay. So the edge ones are high ground, the rest are low ground. Interesting. Now, one of the neutral turrets killed. Here's me trying to figure out the map myself. God knows how the players do it while actually playing the game. Very, very impressive if you ask me. uThermal mech upgrades all on the way through as we get this set up. Elmo gone fishing with a $35 donation. Dude, thank you so much for the $35. Do appreciate it. There's some love in the chat for Elmo gone fishing. Thanks for the 35 bucks, dude. The donation here. Big donation. Some love in the chat, please, guys. Thank you very much. Do appreciate the support. We'll get back to you on the end of the game as well. Give you a proper thank you. Just wanted to mention it now to know that you have been acknowledged, you have been seen. Thank you so much, dude. Now we do see the Roaches and Ravagers pushing forwards, and they are going to start working their way through these rocks. Obviously opening up these rocks and then able to push down to the right-hand side. I mean, it's a fairly small map in terms of pushing across, which is why Lambo's probably looking to try and win this with a big Roach Ravager time right here in the next few moments. I mean, there's a bunker and a bunch of tanks, but is that really going to be enough? Roaches and Ravagers are going to come in from all angles, and here we go. Another couple of tanks going to start sieging now. That bunker in the front buying some time. An extra tank sieging again, almost essential. SCVs will pull in too. uThermal still has some tanks remaining. Every single shot from these tanks is helping out absolutely massively, as he will start to hold on to this. 15 workers down, though. Obviously, Lambo was quite far ahead in workers to go into this. uThermal was just going to tap out. Lambo able to close this out in the end. To Koreans, Americans to recast pretty much everything, and anything we do cast usually is put into the replays. Very few matches we cast don't go out in replay packs, so if you're interested in that, or you just want to support the channel in general, consider subscribing. And if you're a Twitch Prime user, don't forget you can click that Twitch Prime to subscribe to the channel for free. Top right hand side, losing that first game, our blue Terran player is uThermal. And to the top left, our red Zerg Lambo. Now, at the moment, the way this group stands, Lambo is 6-0, Soul is 2-2. Well, Lambo is now 7-0, Soul 2-2, uThermal 1-2, Namshar 1-5. So, uThermal and Namshar traded maps so far. So if so it kind of depends on further results. Obviously, we've still got a lot of the Ziggy games to go, and so on. If Lambo 2-0s uThermal here, uThermal would be 1-3. So we'd have to take a map off Soul to advance over Namshar. This is assuming Ziggy goes 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, which is not necessarily guaranteed. It's just a possibility. So, I mean, this group's interesting right now, but Soul looking good with a 2 over Namshar, despite being 2-0'd by Lambo. Obviously, uThermal wins the map here. He looks good as well, because he'll be the only player to have taken a map off of Lambo throughout the day. So, a lot of different ways to look at this for the moment. What's up, Wumbo Time, for the cheer 30 in the chat as well. Thank you very much for the 30 bits. As we have our top left-hand side player, Lambo, is sending his overload across the map, flying past Bubbles, our neighborhood scary monster. Lambo thinks he's cute, but I'm not quite sure. You can just tell it's like Game 7 of the WCS Finals. All is still. It's time to decide who wins this on year 0. The loser gets fed to the beast. The winner takes him home as a pet. This is Bubbles. Never mind winning WCS and prize money you see to BlizzCon. You gotta take Bubbles home? God damn, I'd play for that. Play my heart out. Lambo word thinks he's cute. This map is interesting. What's this little like pathway of like red dots? It's this map in general is a little bit weird with its aesthetics. Not in a bad way, just in a like sort of like a creepy way. It's a map by Avex, and he's very dedicated to putting out the best looking map he can all of the time. I mean, Blackpink was a fantastic map to look at, and well, Zero is his creation, his only map in the finalists of the TLMC this time around, so we do have him represented again. He won 2 map contests back to back in the day, a few map contests ago. Anyways, right now Starport will be starting up. When the Starport begins, we'll see the barracks starting to set up the tech lab too. Similar opening so far here from uThermal on this map. It's a lot larger when it comes to, you know, pushes across. Roach timings are going to take a lot longer to hit. In general, it's actually a very extended map. I keep referring to the base layout as similar to Habitation Station, but if there's one thing that's not similar to Habitation, is that this map is much wider, so much further rush distance, and that will be very impactful in terms of how this game plays out compared to the last game. Again, if Lambo tried the same thing again here, the difference would be 2 more tanks would be sieged up at least already. You know, there'd be SCVs having much more time to react because he probably has more time to spot this and to get his SCVs in position. We are going to see this Overlord is going to get taken down in a moment or two, so Lambo with the sacrifice here just to scout what's going on. Queen just popping out as well. Nice Queen count getting going here on the 3rd base. Spreading that creep already as you set up on your 0. Let's see. I mean, if you look just beyond the main and the natural form moment 2, obviously you got this base up here as an option to expand towards. You can expand downwards though, and I think that'll probably be the more popular way of going about this. I don't care who this actually is, guys. It's Bubbles. Lambo named him. So he's now officially called Bubbles. Well, I don't care who he actually is, that doesn't matter. That's that guy's past, whatever. He's Bubbles now. Well, Hellions are diving around here, of course, and 4 drones do go down. The Ling's getting a surround, not bad for Hellions, 4 drones. It's good for the Zerg. If uThermal wants to keep on playing mech, though, losing the Hellions isn't as big of a deal as it might usually be. uThermal's actually setting up with an armory. 2nd tank on the way, okay, it's double armory, so it's not anything aggressive. It's just the upgrades coming through once again. Just thinking because he's reactoring Marines out. I guess he's always been reactoring these Marines out, but I'm not being too sure. Tech lab about to pop in a moment or two. Lair is just coming up in the main base now as Liberator arrives. Lambo, a good quick response, but aha! Liberate on the other side too. Evacuate all your bases. Well, 1 Liberator goes down, but some lost mining time for uThermal, but boy, Lambo is on point. He is not losing any drones to any of this. Yes, he lost 4 drones to those Hellions, but for 4 Hellions being in the mineral line, 4 drones is very reasonable to lose. And uThermal will expand up to the top side here for the 3rd base. The 3rd base coming out in this upwards position, not expanding downwards like the Zerg play did. I guess for the Terran play, obviously you want to push forwards, and this base really allows you to do that. I mean, over here you're a bit more set back, so it's the more defensive sort of setup. Already again, I mean, I always love the maps which kind of give you the choice of bases. They give you the opportunity to go here or there, and you know, you don't have to commit to one way or the other. You can play out depending on your style, depending on your race, depending on the matchup. And I think that's what makes maps really fun a lot of the time, the ability to switch up as the game goes by, because boy, you know, if the game, you know, you're switching up as the game goes by, like, you can, you know, it really makes every game a lot more unique, rather than every game just being like, okay, well, this is the 3rd base, that's the 4th base, and all the rest of it. Would a giant air movement blocking mountain be better than the turrets? That way you don't get punished by mistakes, but it has the same effect. Honestly, this is what I said. Like, a lot of the ways in which the turrets are used on these maps, I just feel as though an air blocker would be much better, because then you don't just accidentally fly into it and lose the medevac, but it still you know, allows the creativity of the map. I don't know. It's I mean, the turrets were kind of set up as a challenge, but I'm not sure it's a great idea. At least the way they've been used. Now, I saw an interesting post where obviously we see all of the maps that are turreted have a lot of turrets, and there was actually a discussion about, well, why aren't any of the maps that involve turrets just using 1 or 2 turrets here or there. And apparently the maps that use too few turrets just weren't put through. So, unfortunately, I kind of feel like that would have been a better use. Like 1 turret here or there, maybe kind of really, make it so that it's a sacrifice or it's a choice, not it's an impossibility to move through. Because then I feel like it makes, plays a different role to air blockers, right? Because if you play, otherwise an air blocker just does the same as all of these massive walls of turrets. But hey, if you have this situation where you actually just have, instead of air blockers, you have like 1 or 2 turrets, so you can choose to fly through and take damage, but you're not guaranteed to die or something. You can clean it up later in the game more easily. I think that's more dynamic. I don't know, it just makes it feel different to something we already have, which is what I feel the turret should be used as. Sadly, that's not going to be seen in this tournament for maps that made the finalists, which, I mean, again, we haven't seen the other maps that were submitted, so it's difficult to say that other maps were necessarily better than the ones submitted. It's just I think that that would have been maybe a better way to use them. But again, that's a discussion to continue at a later point and maybe defer into the Team Liquid thread or so, if you guys want to discuss it yourselves. Hellions do pull back, unable to get any damage done down here. Lambo will take a lower side 5th base. Only 6 bases for each player on this map, so actually, despite its size, the base number is very restricted. Now, it's not as crazy as, for example, Belgium Vestige, which had 5 bases per player. 6 bases per player does mean mining out is a real eventuality. I mean, you think about Catalyst, even Catalyst has 7 bases per player, even though the 7th base is somewhat difficult to actually expand to. It's still something you can look towards as an opportunity in the game, so this map, less bases than Catalyst, yet it feels so much larger, doesn't it? So many variables in maps when you think about how they work out and how they can play. Something that's very interesting to see a lot of the time. We do see Hellions running up here, and they are going to be able to grab themselves a roach kill on this sensor tower. Obviously just watching for... holding those sensor towers is nice, but unfortunately won't be allowed to be held for long by the Terran. In general, the mobile units that you would sacrifice onto a tower are kind of the Zergs in this matchup. When it's mech versus Zerg. I mean, you're not going to put a siege tank there and just leave it, right? It's too expensive. It still gets cleaned up by a larger force. Now, Hellion just gets cleaned up by anything, so... that said, I mean, the mech doesn't necessarily need all the map vision. You're generally going to be set up pretty defensively anyways. Now, Lambo is getting ready to attack in. Talk about Lambo's tech. He's already on Hive tech. He already has the 4 Vipers. So it's been a very passive game up to this point. Lambo has been looking for trades without Vipers. He's been straight through to Vipers, straight through to the Hive tech. And now he's going to look to put it to use as he gets ready for his first real attack of the game. A lot of Liberators from uThermal. A lot of Liberators that we don't usually see. He doesn't really have much of a response to 4 Vipers at the moment, by the way, either. Those tanks will see it. The Blind Clouds come down, but man, it's a hell of a spread. Since these Hellions are actually just hiding in the corner. I'm not sure what they're doing. Those Hellions not having a great time just yet, but I don't think there's actually a good fight in the end for Lambo either. As you see now, the Hellions push forwards and they're going to take down the Hydras, which means the Vikings can chase the Vipers. Oh, can they actually get these kills, the Vikings? Pushing through. Lambo maybe in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Already 7-0 in this group. He's already guaranteed himself first place in the group no matter what. He's already straight through to the round of 8. Continue to fight here, and those roaches continue to take a few more shots. Some Liberators will siege up as we see tanks in a 4 coming along here. River Chamber in some trouble as we see the Vipers with energy once again. A Parasitic Bomb hits the Liberators, and that's actually nice because hitting a bunch of them and unsiege and a move away finally from uThermal. He feels as though he has the momentum right now, and of course he does. That last fight was great for him. Going into Cyclones and the anti-armor, rapid-fire launchers is going to give him more shots from the Cyclones. So if they lock onto Vipers, they are going to absolutely disappear. It's going to be crazy. Liberator sieging up again. More tanks pressing forwards. This Hydras at the front gets taken down as well to the top side. Roaches of Lambo going to be coming through and working their way through those depots very shortly. Another Hydras to the south there getting picked off as well. These depots broken through, counterattack. It's going to be powerful. uThermal doesn't really have much in production at the moment, so he doesn't really have anything to defend this. He's just going to start running away. As he loses SCVs, he can set up more defensive reinforcements. At the moment, uThermal though is still pressing forwards, and I don't really blame the guy. I mean, you look at this and it's looking great for him. Obviously, a lot of those units as well from Lambo are now out of position, right? So if they're out of position, they're not going to be able to be used defensively either. Liberators will siege up to stop more units from getting up into the main. uThermal, as he loses SCVs again, is just rebuilding with more units. The Cyclone and Liberator force is actually getting a lot done on the ramp. uThermal, more SCVs going down, but he's pushing his way up into the natural, so Lambo's really getting pushed into a corner. At this point, Lambo's in trouble. He can't even get energy on the Vipers because the hatchery is so low. He could go for the Extractor maybe, but boy, how do you push up into this? Here we go. Parasitic Bomb will get one of the Liberators. Another Parasitic Bomb. uThermal has to unsiege them. Maybe gives Lambo the chance to get down this ramp here. Unsieges, repositions, natural expansion of Lambo dead. Drones waiting to die. And that's something uThermal will push his way through soon. The counter-attack force is cleaned up as well now. uThermal has stayed alive on the other side of the map. And now he's getting the drone kills. Roaches are running into tanks. There's the Blinding Cloud, which is so necessary to take down those tanks in the back. And they will unsiege and they will just back away. These units on the high ground apparently are just going to keep on fighting. I mean, who even took more damage in the end? Both players come out with 50-ish workers. uThermal has units at home to defend. I actually like uThermal's position more. Has a few Hellbats and a 4 still in the main base. Should be a little bit careful. Gets the Infestation Pit. Turns around, the 4 gets taken down. Okay, you won't get much more done with these last few Hellbats. Maybe an extra drone or 2 at the end, but it is a cleanup now. uThermal's army, if you look back on the other side, the Cyclones, the Liberators again, it's actually still pretty scary. He's got a lot of tanks too, so uThermal has an army that can still be utilized here. He's still got a fighting force. He killed the Roach Drone here as well, which makes things a little bit more interesting. 5th base from uThermal is on its way up, so this 5th base, as it finishes here, will be pretty much set to go. A few more Vipers coming into play from Lambo as well. Vipers, Hydras, Roaches, all in the center of the map, gathering together at the moment. 14 minutes into year 0. Fun meching TvZ so far. Love the use of this top pathway to counterattack and push on through. Now we're going to see those Vipers coming into the center of the map now. Liberators, Vikings, Tanks, and Cyclones trying to push in towards the middle as well, or at least thinking about it a little bit. By the way, thank you so much to TLO for the host of the raid. How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream, TLO viewers. It's the WardiTV Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament number 3. Cyclones and Tanks are getting into action here already. Liberators are going to try and cut off the pathway of escape here from the Hydras. Is this good for uThermal? I'm not sure right now. Dude, if uThermal had some Hellions, I guess Cyclones are kind of just gas expensive Hellions. They still rip everything to shreds, but yeah, Hellions would destroy this. Mostly Hydra force at the moment. Finally, Roach Drone back up and more Roaches being made, more Ravagers morphing as well. So Hydra Ravager with the Vipers included. uThermal takes a 6 base onto 78 SCVs. His economy is once again pretty insane already. And well, again, fights like this I don't think are fights which Lambo can really take. Tanks siege up, and a couple of Corrosive Bowels will get kills here. 2 siege tanks just sieged up too close together. Makes those Corrosive Bowels so powerful, of course. A lot of back and forth here from uThermal. Scan coming down. The Cryptium is still being cleaned out as well. A 3rd vehicle plate upgrade coming through, and we are going to be seeing a few Corrosive Bowels dropped on down. Another scan on top of this army. Vipers, Hydras, and Ravagers are thinking about pushing through here once again, perhaps. Now the Viking number is good, though. Already one of these Vipers going down. More Cyclones wanting to join the fray. Unable to just yet. Tanks get pulled out of these Blinding Clouds, though. The Cyclones on their own surely can't fight this. uThermal will be pushed away. Now he has more units streaming on through, but the tanks aren't here just yet. But the Vipers are also dead, so I still kind of believe in these Cyclones, man. +3 attack, +2 plating. If I have +3 plating too, they're going to be really powerful, these Cyclones. It's still a bit scary. There's one Cyclone up here is going to have a little bit of an attack on a hatchery. I mean, just one Cyclone, yeah, it gets down to 2/3 of its health before the respawn actually finally gets here from Lambo to clean it up. Again, uThermal with the 6th base set up and established. Now there's only one base to actually take. Sorry, that's not a 6, that's a 5th base. The 6 in the bottom right corner is something uThermal doesn't move towards. Lambo has all of his bases taken apart from the natural he lost earlier. Yet to retake that here on year 0. Resources lost slightly uThermal favored, so if both players mine out and it continues in this way, this is a uThermal favored game at the moment because resources lost obviously edges in his favor, and the again, the number of bases on each side of the map doesn't look as though anyone's going to steal the other player's bases. This map doesn't really allow for that sort of play to make up for a lack of efficiency in the trades. The Liberators setting up to the south. Roaches, Ravagers, Hydras. If you look at the unit comp right now, 4 Vipers compared to the 7 or 8 we had before, it's mostly Hydras, and that's what terrifies me for Lambo. With only Hydras in the army, it's so vulnerable, and as uThermal re-adds Hellions, and he's got 16 of them now, Hellions are just going to be so good against this. You know, you just need the Hellions to get close. You don't even need to get them to kill off the Roaches, they just need to get close to the Roaches. The splash will hit the Hydras, and they'll do so much damage then. I mean, just watch this first row of Hydras just getting picked away at. Okay, I mean, that abduct was nice on one of the tanks, but That's about it so far. Vikings getting themselves at least one Viper kill. Looks as though they've had 2 Viper kills, so only 1 Viper with energy remaining, and now uThermal sees the opportunity to strike again. Cyclones from the left-hand side are going to stop this from being super successful in terms of retreating from Lambo. Although the Cyclones actually go down, now these tanks chasing on their own. uThermal maybe getting a little bit overzealous. Vikings caught off in the last couple of moments. Suddenly uThermal's in trouble once more. Wow, I really thought these Cyclones around the left were going to get more done, but they didn't in the end. Couple of tanks over here, but really only a couple. The rest of them now centered behind the line of sight blockers. Planting Force here to help out as well. Corrosive bars on one of the Liberators, which sieges. uThermal able to defend. That last fight was hugely beneficial for Lambo. In fact, uThermal has 78 SCVs, but can't rebuild that quickly. Just shows you how slow mech is. Losing fights on your own side of the map is dangerous, because Lambo's just going to be ready to strike again at a moment's notice. Tanks spread all over the place. A lot of tanks on this low ground now. The one big benefit is that Viper count is down once again. From 4 now to 3. There's a couple of tanks are just going to escape here. A couple more tanks siege. There's actually a lot of siege tanks here. Not sure if this is actually a fight which should be taken by Lambo. As he pushes on forwards, I think he begins to realize the same sort of thing. He loses a lot of units on the outro. A lot of kills right there. Lambo to continue pulling back through the center of the map. Great Aspire starts from Lambo in the main base, so getting himself up into that Broodlord tech is something which we haven't seen yet from him. As uThermal continues into +3 ship weapons, +2 ship weapons, sorry, he already has the final set of upgrades on vehicle plating and also on the vehicle attacks. But ship weapons obviously will go quite a long way in just making sure that dealing with Broodlords is more easy. Vipers obviously go down faster. All of that is greatly beneficial, as we do see. The Cyclone production is still on its way, but it's nowhere near as high as it used to be. uThermal's now mining out of this base top side. Only 1,000 gas left to mine, then he can kind of give up this position a little bit more. He can worry about it a bit less, although for the moment, Roaches and Hydras getting set to move in. Although one tank is very far ahead of the rest. Cyclones on the way to help out with this. More tanks are going to start sieging up here in a moment or so. Well, Lambo finds this base before uThermal is able to mine out. We were just talking about it, and I'm just going to see these Cyclones picking up a couple of units as well. Trying to bait these units to keep on fighting almost, and well, works out. Tanks getting the kills. We're back to an even supply game here. 33 to 31,000 resources lost. The resources lost something we have to keep looking back toward, because it is going to be a really decisive factor. Even if you're 2,000 resources further down, that's enough to make a difference if you only have the same amount of resources mined as your opponent throughout the game. And that's the way this is heading. And what is interesting with 81 SCVs, uThermal will mine out faster as well. Lambo retakes his base on the natural. He still has 1,000 gas on this extractor, which he should look to retake as well. Something he needs to look towards here in the near future. As uThermal makes a push down the south side. Still tanks set up over here to defend against these Hydras and Roaches pushing forwards. Another 2 on the low ground. Will continue to be pretty great at this. And Hydras are actually going to continue to drop here. On the other side of the map, some Vikings have already been abducted in, and the rest are still looking for those Viper kills. On the high ground here, uThermal is able to actually push Lambo away from this base. Lambo losing a lot, not rebuilding yet. He's getting Corruptors though, as we see a Fusion Core and extra Starports. Cyclones as well. Now, earlier today when uThermal played against Namshar, his Cyclones weren't enough to fight against the Broodlords. They actually went down very quickly, the Cyclones, because the siege tanks friendly fired them when the Broodlords started to hit down Broodlings. So it's a little bit of an annoyance. Now we see Cyclones probably going to be used to respond to these Roaches up here. And those Roaches will melt, but it costs uThermal a lot of SCVs. That's a lot of Roaches as well. And Lambo, again, he's out of money to really rebuild with. His gas is gone. He has one army, Lambo, and whatever he can get from there. But having just lost 2 bases, now his economy is really in a scrappy stage of this game. And suddenly we're on 4 bases for Lambo with 1 army. I mean, 4 bases are basically mined out. He's got a lot of gas up here. This base hasn't been mining at all for Lambo, so that is something he can work with. Okay, so he's not doomed for an economy just yet, but it's not looking good. A couple of Ravens being brought into play. uThermal needs to make sure he has enough anti-air to deal with the Broodlords that are now introduced into this composition of Lambo. A few more Hydras brought in as well, and more Broodlords as well. Maybe just realizing that this really is his opportunity. I mean, uThermal has triple starport though, so after these couple of Ravens, he really could start up quite a bit. You know what he's actually going to try and do? He's building Liberators, and you might not think Liberators are great anti-air units, but if anti-armor missiles on these Broodlords, Liberators will absolutely destroy them. So actually, uThermal is going for a bit of a different approach to dealing with Broodlords here, in the form of Liberators and Ravens, rather than just the straight-up Vikings. Broodlord's starting to push here. These units on the bottom side are really just out of position and not doing much at all. A lone Viking trapped as well. These Cyclones kill off a base though, so again we talk about Lambo's lack of economy. It's disappearing once again. uThermal happy to let this base go down, knowing that he's counter-attacking down to this bottom side also to shut down another of the bases which is being set up. The drones are all running down here, and uThermal is going to kill all of these workers. Lambo's economy is just disappearing. I mean, he already didn't have really anywhere to mine from, but now he doesn't have drones even if he gets new bases. Up 32 drones. And uThermal continues to push on forward. And another scan down. Lambo was undefeated in this group, hasn't lost a map yet. One corrosive pal obviously is not enough, and that Ravager will go down as well. Yes, Lambo got rid of this attack in the center. And again, as Ravens come out, as Liberators come through, I love the plan from uThermal. Cyclones counter-attacking again, killing bases so quickly. And these bases will continue to drop. A Hydra's pops, it will go down as well. Another Hydra to the top side. Drones are dropping all over the place. uThermal, even if he loses these Cyclones, I mean, again, he has an answer to the Broodlords. He has a response to this ready to go. The Raven's anti-armor missiles, the Liberator splash damage, it's actually very powerful. And he's got some force here as well. Well, here we go. uThermal's getting set up forward. He knows where this army is, and this is it. The anti-armor missiles will connect. Here go the Liberators jumping on top of this, looking for the splash damage and the anti-armor to really help them take it down. And look how quickly those Broodlords just disappear. That's the last fighting units of Lambo in this, and that is GG. uThermal takes game number 2, 1-1, and I think that guarantees uThermal to be through this group.